Hello. I'd like to talk a little bit about my book, The Accessibility of Music. How do we end up with the music in our lives that we choose to have there? Why is it that we prefer some music over others? Why is some music incredibly meaningful to us? Why do we love some music and hate other music? Why do we regard some music as valuable and other music as trash? These are the kinds of questions which I think are concerned with accessibility and which accessibility of music is concerned with. First and foremost, I think accessibility has to be to do with the music that we hear, the music that we're able to hear. Because if we can't hear it, we can't have any other kind of connection with it. And this would have been a very straightforward thing to look at in the days before there was music media, before there was recording, before there was radio and internet transmission and so on. So if you imagine a situation before all that technology, the music that you would have heard would have been the music that was made around you. So music that was sung in your family, music that was made in your workplace, in your church, perhaps in the court where you were part of the aristocracy. Whatever your social situation was, it would have had music attached, and that would have been the music that you heard, and that music formed a part of your life and formed a part of your culture. And it wouldn't have been very easy for you to listen to different music. You would have had to travel to a completely different place, which wouldn't have been that common or that easy. You would have had to leave your community in a way, to leave the music that surrounded you behind and espouse a different kind of music. Today, of course, it's the easiest thing in the world to listen to something that none of your friends and family listen to. All you have to do is click a mouse somewhere on a list on a computer, and you can hear music from any part of the world, from a different era of history. So the accessibility of music in that physical sense has really exploded over the last century or so, particularly over the last 20 years. Now, that kind of physical accessibility I call level one. And I've divided musical accessibility into these three levels, because I think once you start to think about it, it is this kind of bigger structure of different types of accessibility that makes us and enables us to have a certain kind of music in our lives, and maybe reject other kinds of music. The second level then is where we have physical contact with music and we decide how it affects us and what we think about it. So this is the level where our taste becomes active, our prejudices maybe. This is concerned with whether that music makes us feel something, whether that music makes us think something, whether that music carries a certain meaning for us, whether that music is useful to us in some way, perhaps, or whether we regard it as having a value that makes it worth engaging with. So all these things are to do with our personal connection with that music. So This is level 2, and it's about personal perception and reaction to music. The third level then is about actually becoming actively involved. So this could mean learning to play a certain type of music, learning to play an instrument, or joining a group which makes a certain kind of music, joining a choir maybe, joining a band. The way I define it, it doesn't have to be actually making music in that kind of way. It can be just being part of a community of people that kind of collects around a kind of music. So for instance, if you go to a concert series because you like the kind of classical music, art music that is performed there, and you meet some of the same people there on a regular basis, I would say that you are actively engaged in a musically constituted community that shares a certain amount of knowledge about that music. So, you know, you're going out, you're going to a certain venue, you're listening to that music, and it's part of your social interaction. If you're an emo, you dress a certain way, your friends share your musical tastes to a certain extent. So again, I would regard that as being part of a musically defined, or at least to some extent musically defined, social group and social activity. So that's participatory. It's being involved, it's being socially involved in something that's musically defined, and that's what I describe as level 3. So this is the basic outline of what I explore in the book. Accessibility, how do we access music? Why do we choose some music over other music? And are we talking about physical connection with music, level 1? Are we talking about personal perception and appreciation of music or rejection of music, level 2? Or are we talking about actual involvement, active involvement and participation in music at level 3?